And we decided we'd host a party because this is one of our offices, and it just happens to be right next to the conference hotel. We couldn't pass up an opportunity like that. It is in fact kind of a home office for us because it was not actually exactly the first, but kind of the first real place that we had was here in Chicago, and also a big connection with the world of agile software development because it's also where we started doing some agile stuff. This event today has all been organised by my colleague Wendy, and you wanted to say a few things before I start.
Welcome everybody. I'm very, very honored to have this many people in an office of ThoughtWorks. And I started with ThoughtWorks 14 years ago. There were 30 people. So this is fantastic. I love it and have fun. And I'll turn over to Martin to continue the introduction.
So I thought I'd tell you a little bit about ThoughtWorks and our connection with Agile and some of the things about that, and introduce at least a little bit some of the stuff that we've got going on around the office. So I'm going to do that in the good kind of way that I should do this kind of thing, which is to be incredibly self-centered. And I was, through the 90s, I was an independent consultant. I had the good fortune to be on what's considered to be the birth project of extreme programming, the Chrysler C3, together with Kent Beck and Ron Jeffries and Chet Hendrickson. Are Ron and Chet here? I don't see them around, sadly. And I got very interested in this whole style of software development that Kent Beck was talking about with extreme programming. And I did my best to try and get more clients to do this kind of thing, but most were very, very resistant. Ooh, 2-month iterations? Don't think that can be done. I was invited to come here just over 10 years ago. ThoughtWorks had a project up and running. They actually asked for more interested in my object modeling and perhaps even a little bit of UML knowledge, which is kind of ironic in passing. And I arrived and started talking a little bit about this agile stuff and showed them how to do some of the test-driven development stuff that we'd done at Chrysler and some of the refactoring stuff, and started talking about some of the project management ideas. And what I found was a much more receptive group of people than what I was normally used to. Still took a bit of a while to get the project we were working with going. I brought in Ward Cunningham. Ward, you are over there to help. And this was one of the first prototypes of Fit was made at that time by Ward. And we tried out more ideas. And just under 10 years ago, we ran our first iteration in an agile style on a project at ThoughtWorks. And since then, we've been doing all sorts of interesting things. It's kind of odd in a way to listen to some of the people at the conference when they're saying this agile stuff, it's pretty new and I'm not sure what to do with it. And for us now, it's just become a natural way of working. And we've done, I think, some really interesting things. We first started the work of doing agile work with databases, doing things like database refactoring and the evolutionary design of databases. Pramod Sadalaga over there is the man for that. He wrote the book on refactoring databases with Scott Ambler, and he was told it was impossible to do that, but he just doesn't accept the word impossible and just decides to do it anyway. We also decided to do some distributed work. We decided to go to India and set up an office in India. We were told that Indians, they can't do agile stuff. They very much command and control. It's deep in their culture. Indian people can't possibly do an agile thing, particularly if you're going to work in an offshore with clients in America or the UK or whatever. They have to do a rigid top-down stuff. My Indian colleagues would probably beg to differ with that. We now have a vibrant operation in India, in Bangalore, in Pune, in Chennai. We have, what, 300, 400 people now? I'm looking at one of mine. Very close to 500. Very close to 500 in those three offices over there. And they work in very much an agile style. We still do short iterations. We might have to do 2-week iterations rather than 1-week iterations at times, but we have to deal with the communication difficulties ways to deal with that. And it's really been worked out very well for us. We also have offices in the UK. There are a bunch of our UK thought workers here, some of which have been speaking at the conference. In fact, that's the only reason I got tickets to get here. We also have our Australian office, and a bunch of Australian thought workers. The English thought workers are feeling very smug compared to the Australian thought workers at the moment. Do ask the Australians why it is they're so unhappy. They'll be glad to tell you. And we also have an office in China as well, in Beijing. And, oh yes, no, I've got the Chinese representation here as well. So we are scattered across the globe now. There's about 1,000 of us. And we do project delivery work is our core work. We do projects for clients, either completely ThoughtWorks projects or co-sourced in collaboration with client developers. All sorts of different domains in finance, retail, a lot of media stuff. We did the Guardian's website, for instance, in England, Lonely Planet in Australia, together with a few friends. And a whole bunch of projects we've done with clients or for clients, as well as doing a good bit of consulting as well, teaching people how to do Agile. Back in 2001, 2002, if we wanted to do a project our way, we certainly couldn't say extreme programming. We weren't even allowed to mention Agile. We would have to be very quiet about it. Now, when people come to us and ask us to show them some of the things that we've learned about Agile software development. So it's been quite a journey, and it's been exciting for me because as an individual consultant, my goal is to try and make changes to the software industry to make us more effective, efficient, and enjoyable place to work. That's my personal goal in life. And the great thing about ThoughtWorks, really, as far as I'm concerned, is I've got 1,000 lab rats all over the world doing interesting things. And I just look around, find the best bits, steal them, and write them up on my website or in my books. So it really is a perfect set. But if you're here because you've read some of the stuff I've written over the years, this is your opportunity to actually talk to the organ grinder instead of the monkey. And talk to the people who actually do the things that I talk about. And do take that opportunity to talk to many of the thought workers around here who have delivered some very interesting systems, some of them small, some of them pretty damn big, and use the kinds of Agile techniques that we've got a reputation for using. Now the basic setup of how we're organising things is we're having a whole bunch of little stations, each of which is going to be populated by a few thought workers who will tell you about various subjects. You'll see various signs posted around to tell you what they are. I'm not going to list them all, I'm just going to pick out a few little highlights. So one highlight that's very interesting is over there you'll see an area of balloons and cake. We decided that, thinking about it, we realised that because we've been doing Agile approaches for a long time, and a core Agile technique is continuous integration. And one of our projects has been running continuously for over 10 years now. Wasn't really Agile when it started. It changed over, and it started doing continuous integration about 8 or 9 years ago. And so we reckon it's the longest running continuous integration instance anywhere in the world. I can't prove that, but I'm going to assert it vigorously online. And so, by the way, the software that ran that is the Genesis software for cruise control, which is the first open source tool, the first real continuous integration server out there. We've done interesting things since, but that's a very special project to us. So we decided we'd make this its official birthday and give it a birthday party and a cake. And we were hoping that, is Matt Femmel here? Is he here yet? We were hoping we'd get Matt Femmel here, who was the guy who first wrote the first code that made a continuous integration server. Back on the project with myself, Pramod and Ward and various others.